In this video, I'm going to show you how you can load some unique objects that aren't in the default library for the Revit families. I'm also going to show you how to create these stairs that I'm going to have go down into my basement. So the first thing that we need to do is I'm going to show you my 3D model so that you can see what I've got going here. I added all the interior partitions and the windows and the doors in the kitchen and bathroom plumbing fixtures. And I wasn't happy with the window selection rather, that we had in the library, so I loaded these craftsman style Marvin windows. And I wanted to just point out to you that if you are interested in finding additional Revit type objects, you see that here in a Marvin website, they actually create Revit symbols. So if I wanted to, for instance, get just a regular double hung Revit family file to load into my project, you go to the Marvin window website and or just type in Marvin Revit models, Revit window models at the Google search, and you'll find it. If you go to Clad Ultimate Double Hung Windows, I'm going to move this up so you can see. Whoops, I didn't want that to expand. Let's move this so you can see that what happens is it downloads down here into a zip file. If you open the zip file, in the zip file is the RFA file and then the text file. If we were in Matt's class and you were taking the second level Revit class, we'd want to make sure that we loaded both of these because one controls the catalog of the other. But for your purposes, you really just need the RFA file. So you can highlight the RFA file, we can copy, and what I've been doing is kind of giving you guys additional stuff by creating a library for you on the AAD 165 Basic Architecture folder. In the Living Codes, Kitchens, and Baths, I created a Revit family file that I've added some stuff that I've gone and found. So I've done the same thing to find a corner shower unit. Let's see if we can look at all large images so you can see. So a corner shower unit. We have another. There's a double hung window we just loaded from Marvin. I loaded an awning window, and there's that cottage style clad and another double hung window. So you have some additional Revit family files that you can go and get and bring in to your project. So let's say I wanted to bring this double hung with trim window into my project, or the double hung window, let's say. So I have this one loaded, I want to load that one too, or the shower corner unit, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. What you do is go to Revit and you choose to open, and then go ahead and open the family file that I've loaded in the R drive for you. Or you can download it into your own S drives. If you find a family file online, you want to download it to your own S drives, and make sure you know where it is and go and browse to it. So I'm going to open up the shower corner unit right here. Once you open it as a family file, we can look at the shower, and it gives you an opportunity to load it into your project. So when you click on load into your project, you can check off which project you want to load it into. These are the other family files that I have open, so I don't want to load them into those, but I do want to load them into my Josephine project, my RVT file that I'm working on. So when you hit OK, that becomes a new component that I can add to my floor plan. And of course, once you're done with the family files, you can close them out. So there's my shower. Now my shower is a little bit too big for this project, but it gives you an idea of how you can bring in additional stuff from outside of Revit's libraries. So just to make sure you understand that when you open up a family object, if you click on the View tab, you can see what other family files you have open, and you might want to go in and just close them down as you go. So see, I have two Josephine files open, a 3D view and a floor plan. But this is a family file. I want to get rid of that one, so I can just go to it and turn it off. That doesn't get rid of it in your project. This is just the family file. I want to get rid of this 3D preview family file, and I want to get rid of I loaded a casement window, not a casement window, but a 45-degree bay window, sorry. And I did all that through the Marvin window. So there's that bay window I loaded, and you have access to it as well because I put it in the R drive. So if we take a look at this in 3D, that's how I brought in some of these more unique elements that you can't find in your library. So that stove, for instance, is a gas stove with electric, and then I brought in a refrigerator that's a side-by-side with a freezer at the bottom, which isn't available in the regular Revit libraries. So feel free to go and browse for things and find Revit files and RFA files that you can use in your project. Alright, so that takes care of that. Now what we want to do is create a foundation so that we can build the stairs. I know in the first file I said, video rather, I said you probably don't need to create a foundation, but if you do have a foundation in your project, which you do need to create stairs, so we need to at least create some kind of basic foundation for us to define the stair height with. It might be that all we need to do is just define the level, so we'll start there. So I'm going to go to my elevations, and it doesn't matter what elevation you pick. So pick my front elevation. And we can see we have our roof level defined, we have our first floor level defined, and it's matching up with the finished floor of our main house. And then I want to define a new level. So to find a new level, go back to the Architecture tab, and you'll see that there's a level icon that matches the icon that we see here to put in elevation. And I want to create a level, maybe 8 feet 6 inches from the level that I have now. I'll do the math on that and figure out exactly what I want. Oh, I want to extend that. There we go. So you see that level go all the way across. Okay, so this should be renamed as, I'll use caps lock, foundation level. And that's going to update and add a foundation floor plan for us to go to. And if we do the math on this, we're at first floor here, so we want to go down 3/4 of an inch for the finished floor, another 3/4 of an inch for the subfloor, so that's 1.5 inches. And then we want to add another 11.25, so that's 1.5 plus 11.25 is 12.25 inches. So I want to go down 12.25 inches. Then I have a mud sill that should be here, which would be 1.5 inches, so that becomes 13.75 inches. And then I want a stem wall height of 7'6" minus 4 inches, which would be 7'2". So I think we're looking at 8 feet 2.25 inches if we add that all together, if I'm right. I might have to do the math on the side there. So this is 8 feet 2.25 inches. And we can adjust that after the fact, once we get our wall heights in there and everything. Okay, so now just to make this clear for you, I'm going to put in a foundation from my first floor. So I'm going to create a wall, but the type of wall that I'm going to use is going to be a 10-inch concrete partition. So I want to foundation wall right here. And I'm going to define the wall by picking the planes. Just ignore this for now. We're going to fix it afterwards. And now let's take a look at our elevation view, and we're going to see that we have all of our foundation walls just kind of popped in there, but not exactly where we want them. So I want this wall to be aligned with that wall. So I'm going to use the Align tool and pick the outside. I actually want to pick the outside face of stud and align those walls. I want to pick that wall and align it with this wall. And I'm not sure we have extra wall in here. Let's find out why when we get rid of that one. And then the other thing we want to do is get this wall to actually go to the correct height. So we really should be setting up a top of foundation wall dimension. So I'm going to go back to architecture and set up my level. And let's go down. I want this to be on this side, so I'm going to just turn it on over here and turn it off over there. And then I want to set this to, what did we come up with? Negative 13.5, I think, or 13.25. Whoops. I got to write a negative 13.25 inches. Alright, and that looks like that's about where we want that to go. Alright, so now what I can do is grab all these walls, and I can tell the walls to go up to the, oh, we want to rename that level. Let's name that level right there, top of wall. Alright, so top of wall is going to be what we use to lock our walls to. So those walls need to go to the top of wall. You see how that just corrected them? And then all of these walls need to go to, put a 0, they need to go to the foundation. And then that gets those foundation walls in there. Now I'm going to take a look at this from a different elevation. Let's go to left and see if the walls are all in line. We'll go to right. And I need to see the rest of my building here, so I'm going to turn on the crop region, pull that out, and I can tell that there's something going on with the walls here, why that wall is sticking out beyond. I have to figure out why. So I'll make a correction to that and find out why that's doing that. So I need to go back to my foundation plan, or first floor plan, foundation plan rather, and this explains it, why we don't have a wall here on this side. So I want to create a wall on this side. So I'm going to go into my wall components, and I'm going to add a wall to that edge. Then I'm going to go to my elevations, because for some reason that didn't show up, and see why we don't have a foundation wall showing up there. There it is. It just went where it should not be. So this should go to foundation with 0 base offset, and then the top constraint should be up to the top of wall with no top offset. And that should do it for us. Now it's not lined up, so I want to grab that wall. I actually want to align. Let's go to modify. I want to align this wall with that wall, and that should put those two together. And now everything's lining up, and when we go to our foundation, we have a full foundation wall system. And when we go to our 3D view, we have our foundation wall and our floor plate and so on. Now there technically should be a mud sill here, but we're not going to worry about it for this class. That's something that we can deal with in the next class. It's going to be good enough. We can add it as a detail component when we put it into section, but it's going to be enough for us to go on. So I'm going to go back to the foundation plan, and if we want to be technically accurate here, we're going to also add a footing. Footings are under structure, so I want to add a I think it's, let me see here, wall, floor, column. I think it's under this foundation wall footing. Yes, foundation wall footing. We want to add that. And the default footing size that it gives you is 36 inches wide by 12 inches deep. That's way more than we need, so I'm going to edit this type. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to use the correct size footing for a 10-inch wall, which would be 20 inches wide at the minimum, by 10 inches deep. You can change this to up to 25 inches. And that would work as well, but 20 inches is fine. And then I have to change the width here. So this is be 20 inches by 10 inches. And now we have a new wall bearing footing for our 10-inch wall. So if we click on our walls, let's see if we take a look at that in our 3D view. I think we will see the footings, but we're not seeing the footings in our foundation. So we go back to foundation. We can set our view range so that we can see them. Again, you don't really have to do this. The section will work fine for us, and we can we're going to be able to see what we need to see. So I'm going to choose edit just to show you how to do this, and we want to change our offset to a negative 100 feet or negative 10 feet. Oh, it looks like this stays at 0. It's level offset of negative 10 feet. And then there our footings appear for us in that foundation view. And like we said, we went to the 3D view and we could see the full foundation. Now the only other thing we have to add in here is a slab. So I'm going to go back to the foundation view, and I'm going to add a floor slab, which I think I want to do under floors. Yeah, we're just going to do a regular floor. And I want to define that slab as a 4-inch concrete slab. And I'm going to pick my walls to define the slab. So you pick the walls, and you do want the pink line to follow the inside edge of the foundation wall. And then we're going to just check that off, and now we should have a slab. And if we look at our section and expand our section view, we now have a slab here. Well, it's actually a little bit too low, so I want to grab the slab and put that at the right height. So I want the height offset to be 4 inches. And now it's exactly resting on top of our footing. We've got our foundation wall and then our floor system, and hopefully we have the correct height set up here so that we have the correct stem wall height and so on. Okay, so that is the first step in creating the stairs. Let's go ahead and let you watch the next one. We'll actually create the stairs and create an opening in the floor.